It's been a while since Kayla and I have worked together. She's been busy managing Jim's place, but she finally has some free time now this year to start working on her pool game again. We're just going to start off here by looking at her stance and stroke and really seeing what we need to work on. So I'm just giving her a straight in shot here. Okay. Better. This time, I want you to come behind the cue ball.
Okay.
Stand, wait, move over the right. I want you to stand back here like this.
Okay.
And walk into the shot. You like to place your left foot and then move your right foot back, which is fine, but you have to make sure it's on that line. So I want you to get back here, line up those two balls,
Okay.
and then step forward into the shot. What you're doing right now is you're kind of coming in and just coming down like this.
Mm-hmm.
And so from back here, you can see what the line should be.
Okay.
When you get down here, your floor is looking pretty good, but we're going to work on that. But for right now, the number one thing, the most important thing of all, is to get this shot line, to see it. Where do I have to, what pathway does the cue ball have to travel in order to hit that ball? And then move straight in on it. Okay? Flick your eyes back and forth from the object ball to the cue ball and see what line that cue ball has to take. And then step forward on that line with your right foot near that line. Okay, we're going to work on your visuals at some point. Okay, that's better. Let's try it again. Okay, let's do it again. Okay, see how consistent you are?
Mm-hmm.
You're consistently off.
Yes.
And so what we're going to do is adjust your vision center. So we're going to walk through this. And again, we talked about this before in an earlier lesson, that this is exactly like a gymnastics routine.
Mm-hmm.
You did gymnastics, right?
Dance. Yes.
Dance, okay. And it's also like a choreographed dance routine.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to do, let's say you're going to be in a high school event and you're going to dance, and you're going to do it choreographed with some other people, you're going to spend weeks repeating and repeating and repeating and getting exactly every step right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we have to do with the pool thing. So what I want to do is go back and just repeat what we originally did about how do you go about doing a pool shot. And if you teach yourself this routine and repeat this routine over and over again, and I will make a checklist for you.
Okay.
I have a checklist, but I vary it for different people, so at the end of the lesson I'll know what checklist to give you.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're getting ready to practice, like for a league event or something like that, you want to set this up like this. Don't just play pool with your friends. It's not going to help you get ready to play your best match.
Mm-hmm.
So step one, I'm going to figure out what the line of the shot is. I know I want to make the cue ball go to there,
Mm-hmm.
hit that, right in the middle of that chalk, and come right back to my tip. So to do that, I first have to align my eyes. And what I'm looking for is, what I'm using is my center of vision to do that. And for me, the center of vision is almost dead center between my two eyes. That is not the same as your dominant eye. Your dominant eye is either going to be the right eye or the left eye. Your vision center, in other words, the way you see three-dimensional things,
Mm-hmm.
that's usually more towards the center. With some people it is the dominant eye, but with most people it's more towards the center. So we're going to try and line our head up with that. And then we're going to keep that line. Our head never varies from that spot. We're going to assume our stance and we're going to come down on that line And then we're gonna look back and forth. I see my target, I want the center of the cue ball to hit the center of the chalk. I see my tip, I'm doing a couple of practice strokes. I'm making sure my tip's gonna hit the center of the cue ball. And I'm gonna then do a slow backstroke and come forward. And I hope that that comes back and hits my tip. If I'm off center, there are several things that happen, and this is why we tell every beginning pool player, we want you to hit the center of the cue ball until you're really good at pocketing balls. And then after you're really good at pocketing balls, the hard part comes, which is controlling where the cue ball is going to go, and we do that by applying English, right or left English, or high or low. I come down on the shot, if I hit it just 2 millimeters off to the right, it's going to do that.
Okay, that makes sense.
So it does not come back to my tip. So what this is a practice for finding the line, stepping into the shot, coming down on it, placing a bridge properly, looking down, seeing where I want to hit, finding the center of the cue ball, and then stroking the ball, and trying to make it come back to my tip. That's not always going to come back dead center in the tip. So a couple of things for you. One of the things we want to watch for on you is you tend to get too close and put your head too far forward on your stick.
Okay.
So there are two things. Your stance looks pretty good, and what you're doing is you're coming up into it like this and then stepping back with this foot, and that's what Federer does, and it's okay to do that. It's not it's not ideal for a beginning player, and the reason is beginning player is going to struggle to maintain that line. If you can place this foot first and never move it, then when you come down on it, you'll have the proper aim. Because what you're trying to do is maintain your head position to come down and then go through those motions. But see how far ahead I am?
Yes.
See where my chin is? You really want to be doing it more like as if you were shooting a rifle like this, and you point it back at the camera. You're shooting a rifle like this. You've got a rear sight and a front sight, and you line those up. And see, I can line up the butt of the stick with the end of the stick. And the further back I am, the better I can do that.
Okay.
So if I'm pointing at something, I'm telling you I want you to look at somebody, I go like that, and it's okay, but if I go like that, it's a lot better. In other words, the more distance you have back from something, the better you can get line. So when you come down on this, you want your chin way back here. And that means you have to reach. You have to stress your body a little bit and reach this hand out ahead of you. Now, look how far back my chin is, and I can see that line better from here. That's number one for you to think about. We're going to make you think about two things on your fundamentals.
And I noticed you put it behind the joint. That's where your chin goes.
My chin is going to be back behind this joint, yeah. And I think that's a universal thing that any time, every inch that you move forward, your accuracy is going to go down.
See.
So you really need to think about that. And that means you're reaching this left arm out, and that left arm is usually going to be straight out like that. And the other thing, and I really learned this from Rodney Morris recently, he told me to turn my elbow out like that. That makes this arm completely stiff.
I see.
You don't want to be like this, because then you're way... So you're going to come down on it and try to keep your chin back here, and you can aim better that way. 1, 2, and that's pretty good. I get right back to the center. You have a kind of a weak bridge right now,
Yes.
and we want to work on that, because here's what your bridge looks like right now. You have this finger trying to come over like that, but it's looking like that. There's no firmness to that.
Yeah, and I can feel that. It feels unsteady.
Right, it's unsteady. So what I would prefer you to do is this kind of a bridge.
Okay.
Try that out. And I think that's the first thing we should work on is that. So let's see you go through this routine.
Okay.
You're going to stand back, you're going to get the line. And if you're not able to get that line, then we're going to stop and work on eye alignment. Because I think this was an issue, shooting this ball in this pocket was an issue of your eye alignment.
Yes. So you want me to step first with my right foot and then step into it with my left? Is that,
I don't think you should change that part of it right now.
okay,
We'll see how that works. If it works, it's fine. It's just not as simple.
yes.
And with the orthodox pool stroke, when teaching beginning pool players, we'd like it to be as simple as possible. The least number of movements possible.
I see, okay.
So just use your normal method of stepping into it, but concentrate on the chin in that left arm. Okay, now don't move. Oh, you moved. Okay, we're going to get a picture here. Okay, stand back up and go through that process again. Okay, let's work on this. When you place your hand, you want to have as many points as possible in contact. So right now you're up like this. And look at me. I'm a shaky old man. So my hand actually shakes when I'm up like that, but it doesn't shake when I'm down like that.
Okay.
So you want your palm down and these fingers. And you're not just laying your fingers there, you're pressing them down on the table. You're making a firm bridge.
Okay.
When I learned pool down the block here at the Peppermint Stick Lounge, old Doc McGowan would press his big gnarly hands down and hurt your hands. He pressed down so hard on them. You need to be pressing down on the table with those 3 fingers, yeah, or actually with all 4 fingers. You want to spread them out because the more spread out they are, the more stable everything is. So I've got my palm, 4 fingers, and then I'm bringing this thumb up like that and making a V with it. You do a really good job of making a V. So let's practice that. Now that looks a lot more stable.
It feels a lot more stable.
Let's just do one thing. Don't move. Okay, go ahead and get into the position again.
Okay.
You always want to move.
I do, my first read.
Yeah, everybody does that. When I say don't move, they go.
They move?
They stand up and, okay, what's next?
Okay, so palm.
Yeah, spread them. That's what I was going to do.
Okay. That was off.
That's okay. That was quite. What we are seeing here is a recapitulation of what we saw when she was shooting balls into the pocket. She kept missing, the object ball would hit the right side of the pocket, and that's because stick and her stroke are aligned left of the line she's seeing with her eyes. And in this case, as she shoots towards the end of the table, that ball is coming back and coming off to her left. And that is not because of English, that's because of the angle, that her stick is not aligned along the line that her eyes are seeing. Whenever you move this way,
Okay.
that way we get you on camera. You're lunging at the ball a little bit, you're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
What I want you to think about is just smoothly, so you're going to pull back, and your target is right here. You've got a nice firm bridge now, and you're just going to go back and then accelerate that. You're almost letting go of the stick.
I see.
You're not hitting the ball with the stick. You're really not. It's more like you're throwing a spear. So your grip should be loose, come down on the shot, do your practice strokes, find the center of the cue ball, take your eyes back and forth to the center of the cue ball to the center of the chalk, then slow back, and then just accelerate through the ball. Don't try to hit it, because your target isn't that ball, it's out here. And really your target is out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
People like to think that the cue ball is the target, that they're hitting the cue ball, but you're not. You're trying to make your stick go through here all the way to this. You can't reach that far, but that's what your target is all the way through. And so you're not hitting the cue ball, it just gets in the way.
Let's see.
That'll smooth your stroke out. That's much better. That's your target. That's what you're trying to, where you're trying to get your tip to end up.
Okay.
Don't think about the cue ball other than that the spot that you're going to hit on it. You're just going to smoothly stroke through and try to make your tip go to that donut. Much better. Let's do one more thing, and this is something that is true of every shot you ever take for the rest of your life, and that's to get this cue stick as level as possible. What you're doing is, if I look at where the cue stick is in relation to the table, it's like that, it's about an inch above the table.
I see.
When I shoot that shot, I want it almost level with the things, with the cushion. So if you come over here, stand over here again, I'm going to aim for that, for my tip to end up on that donut. And what I'm really doing, you have a real, by the way, you have a really nice arm position now, which you didn't have last year. You must have been working on it with Justin's son. You come down on this, and really what I'm trying to do is I'm hitting the center of the cue ball, and I'm looking at that spot, and I want the center of the cue ball to hit that spot. So that's where I'm aiming my tip at, is at that spot way down there. It's going to end up on this spot here. The cue ball just got in the way, okay? That's my target down there. That's what I'm trying to poke. If only my stick was long enough, I would poke that target. Now look where my bottom of my stick is here. It's like a 1/4 inch above the...
It's about touching that.
Yeah, yours is up here like this.
I see.
Every inch you move up, you're going to lose some percentage of accuracy. Because when you hit down on the ball, let's go to the extreme and watch how this ball curves. See it curve? It went there and
Doesn't
it
go
curved
straight
in that
all the way.
direction. That's happening every time your stick elevates. So if I'm up, if I'm here and I hit the ball, and I hit it a millimeter off to either side, that won't change it very much. But if I'm elevated like this, and I hit it a millimeter off, that's going to change it a lot.
I see. Okay. It makes a big difference.
You want to hit the center of the cue ball, and you want your stick every time possible to be as level as possible. And I think that'll help with this kind of pokey thing I'm seeing.
I think so.
I'm seeing the cue ball stutter a little bit. So you're bringing your tip to this target. You'd like to poke all the way through, but it's not going to reach. But that's what you're aiming at. Very good. And if you have that mental image, it'll do you good for every kind of shot that you're going to shoot. Let's do that again. Okay, you remember when you were shooting this shot, you were hitting off to the left just a little bit? That's what you're doing here too. You're hitting off to the left just a little bit. Let's try it again. We're going to concentrate on your visual center. Okay. And just aim the tip right at the center of this chalk. Got it?
Yes.
Okay, now when I remove this, and I'm going to move the stick, is that a continuous line, a broken line?
It's a continuous.
Okay, that's good. Now let's do another thing. I want you to aim this so that it's a continuous line pointing, and have both eyes on, so that it's a continuous line aimed at that center of that chalk. So I'll hold it in front of your face. Okay, do you have it? It's a single line?
Mm-hmm.
Now, begin to move it closer to your eye, and it should break up into
It
four
does.
lines. Does it?
It does.
Okay, I want you to center that on this chalk. Got it? Move it closer to your face. You should see like a V, two sets of lines. But even though the lines have all broken up, you can still center them, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, it appears as if your center of vision is in your right eye. Can we talk about your vision issues?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
I don't know if you want to talk about that on camera or not.
No, that's fine. It might help somebody that has the same issues as me.
So, I've noticed every time you line up, you're lining up your right eye with the line of the shot. Although it's not completely correct yet, but that's okay. That has, I'm beginning to think that has something to do with your arm position. That you are able to see the line because you made a straight line out of this. After you got down on it and I removed the paper, you saw a straight line.
Yes.
Yeah, so that means you correctly put your center of vision on that. And
Okay.
now you're holding the cue stick crooked. And I saw that when I got down here like this, that you were going to hit over here every time because your cue stick was pointed over here.
Mm-hmm.
So you're lining up your vision with this, but you're not lining up the cue stick with it. So that's something we can work with. So tell me about your vision issues. You're legally blind.
I'm legally blind, and my left eye, I have barely any vision in my left eye.
Mhm.
So I'm definitely right-eye dominant, and I kind of overcompensate, where sometimes I'll close my left eye
Mhm.
to try to see better.
And you could do, very rarely do we tell somebody to close an eye when they're lining up a pull shot, but you'll be able to do that because your center of vision, you're depending on your right eye for everything,
Yes.
which makes, leads to a difficulty with you for pull because three-dimensional orientation is incredibly important in pool. And that's why, like if I have two balls, if I have a ball here, and let's say I'm aiming that ball right at the center diamond.
Okay.
When I look at it from back here, I can get the line better. The closer I come to it, the harder it is for me to get the line. Just like the thing we talked about, sighting your rifle from back here is better than sighting it from up here. So the further back you are in the line, the more like. But as you move forward, the line doesn't change, but the appearance of the balls changes. This ball gets larger and larger the closer I get with reference to that ball. And so spatial, three-dimensional orientation is super important in pool. What you're going to have to do is, because you're relying entirely on your right eye, is keep that eye in line as you come down with this. And I think you're going to have to use some tricks to aim properly, and we'll get into that. So your grip looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Your bridge looks better.
Okay.
Your stroking arm looks good. What we want to do is get the stick lined up with your vision.
Okay.
And so let's do that the same way. Let's get in alignment here, and I'm gonna, actually, let's do this with pocketing the ball,
Okay.
like we were doing before. So let's come down in the shot. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and do the stroke. Okay? Every time you've shot so far,
It always goes
you've hit
up.
left of where you were aiming.
Mhm.
And so we have to make an adjustment for that.
Okay.
And we don't have to adjust your head position. We have to get you to be able to see where the cue stick's aimed. So as I'm taking pictures, I don't know if you can see it here or not. It looks to me like even though your head and your eye are aligned with that pocket, that the stick is pointing a little bit
Mhm.
to
You
that
can
side.
tell it's off that way.
Yeah, and I think that's true of several, see how it's pointed off this way?
Mhm.
And that's where you're missing every time. So, I want you to go ahead and get down in the shot, and then we're going to make an adjustment. It's really good now, you're standing back and looking at the line. And what we want to do, okay, I can see what the issue is now. We want to stay there.
Okay.
We're going to loosen up your grip. We need the arm out like that. So look back at your elbow.
Okay.
You want to, when you look down that line, it should be straight with the cue stick. So this arm is straight with the cue stick like that. So go ahead and try that. Don't stand back up. Always stand back up.
Okay.
Okay, now look back at your arm. Okay, go ahead and stroke through. I could see you were still aimed up in this direction. That's okay, we got to go through this in order to see it. So, this means you're probably going to have to change your foot position. So,
Okay.
go ahead and get down into the shot. Okay. Okay, we got it now. Don't move.
Okay.
Okay, now I'm going to get you in proper alignment. Stand back up. Your foot, this foot, should be somewhat in line with the line of the shot. And what you're doing, by doing that extra step back, you're stepping way out like this. As you do that, it brings everything that way.
Oh, okay, I see it shifts.
Now, your vision is seeing that line, but your arm is way out here now, and it's crossing the line.
Okay, which is why I'm doing the same thing every time.
You're hitting the same way every time. You're hitting the left side of your object ball every time.
Mhm.
So rather than your foot ending up here, it needs to end up somewhere on this line right here.
Okay.
And I'm not sure how close you have to be. It could be somewhere between here and here. And then, if this is hanging straight, and I can look back and I'm seeing right down the line, now my eye, in your case your right eye, your foot, your lower arm, your hand, your stick, and your upper arm are all aimed at the same direction.
Okay.
It's going to feel a lot different when you get down in that shot.
It already feels different.
Yeah, now you're too crowded. Let's change this so that,
Let's go.
okay, let's line up on that.
We've got about 25 minutes until we're open.
The problem is it's hard for me to get, I'm looking behind you. Go ahead. Go through your normal routine.
So you know I'm too close to it.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Perfect. Now you're in line. That foot should be somewhere close to the line, and I would love you to get into the habit of permanently placing your right foot first.
Okay.
Don't copy feather. And really, for the most part, don't ever copy any pro, because they got where they got with imperfections, and he does have imperfections, believe it or not, but he's overcome it by hitting 1,000,000 balls, and you're not going to hit 1,000,000,000 balls. You might pour 1,000,000 drinks, but you're not going to hit 1,000,000 balls.
Right.
So you can't do things the way he does. So let's see you get in line there again. And I think part of what's happening is, when we were doing this shot, that this is in the way for you and you're trying to work around it. But what you have to do is compensate. When you have a shot like that, you were stepping out like this, and then you're coming like this, and your body's, you're catching it behind your head.
Yep.
There's not enough room, and that causes you to do this. Circle out like that and back in. It makes a C-shaped stroke, and you're stroking in that direction.
Yes.
This pendulum thing we talked about in the past has to be happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're just swinging that pendulum.
Okay, so you want me to not move my right foot at all?
I want you to step in to the right distance so that, watch how I do it.
Okay.
I would like you to do this, and I think you will become a better shot maker a lot faster. Place this foot, even if you have to shuffle like this or whatever, place this foot first, and then leave it.
Okay.
If you come down and it doesn't feel right, you have to stand back up, and sometimes I'll move that just an inch and come back down. Look at how much clearance I have here.
You have a lot.
You're tucked in like this.
Yes, and then I don't have.
And so then you have to throw your arm out like that, and it causes that to curve. And as your stick goes in that direction, you're hitting it off center, off the. Okay, you're going to have to put that foot a lot closer and step in like that. That time you hit it to the left again. You see that? Yep. You look contorted, and this is going to be hard for you to learn, but I hope you will do it. Let me do it one more time.
Okay.
Here's what you look like. You put your foot here like this, and then you step way up here like this, and let's see, what was it I was going to show you? Oh. And you got stuck in here like this. You've got to get this arm hanging out like this. So if that foot is there, and my arm is hanging like that, and I just step off a little bit like that, look how much clearance I have.
Yes.
And now I can see the stick. You ended up like this. So we want that straight arm. And place that foot and hold it. Okay, don't move. This is a really hard thing to do, I'm telling you. and you gotta work at getting it because
It'll make the difference.
every time we adjust, something else has to be adjusted, so. There's the joint, now your chin is way out here. So that means that you have to stand back farther and reach more with that left
I
hand.
see. Okay.
And we're gonna mark a good spot for you. So go ahead and get in position. Okay. Stand up straight right now. Don't move. Okay, that's good. Okay, I'm gonna go back down. Trying to figure out how to get this. Okay. I would like you to place that foot out here, like that. Now come down on the shot. Does that feel super uncomfortable?
No, it feels like I have a little more stability.
Okay. I think you need to be a little bit wider. There's
Okay.
something else going on, and it's the same thing that we faced before, is you're getting your chin that far ahead of the joint. And we have to figure out a way for you to be able to aim after you're in the down position. Where's my stick at? There it is. And this is a struggle. I mean, we struggled with this before.
Yes. Well, we'll have to go back through and watch our videos and see what.
Yeah, in fact, I'm doing a bunch of short videos, and I'm at that video very soon.
We'll have to look at it and see, because I know we figured it out, and it's been so long since I played.
So you need to think about, if I'm at this position right here, and I hang my arm, it's right there in my hip, right? That's where I want it to be when you come down, but what you're doing is, it's ending up back here like this. Okay, then you're bringing your chin way forward like this. It's hard for me to do, it's so exaggerated. So, what we want is to have more of a sideways step. Foot's right here.
Okay.
I come like that, and then I come down like that, and now look, my arm is hanging almost straight up. And my chin is 6 inches behind that.
Behind the
Okay, here's the difference. You're going like this and stepping way forward on a narrow line, and you're ending up with this hand back, and your chin way up. Instead, think about finding that spot, and then it's more of a squat. Look at how little I'm stepping forward there. I'm in a boxer stance, and I'm coming down on it, reaching that arm out, and now, man, I've got a lot of stick I can use to aim with. If you're up here, you can't see where that stick is aimed as well as when you're back here. So here's what you're doing. You're coming like this, and you're coming like that, and putting your chin ahead and then arm back. What we want to do is just step a little bit to the side and stop. Stop here, okay? Is my hand next to my hip? Yes. Come down on the shot. Is my hand still next to my hip? Yes. Now I'm in proper position. My chin's back behind the joint. I can go back straight, and stroke, and make the ball. Let's try that. I think that trick. So put your hand like this, place your foot, and then keep your hand stuck here as you step over here and come down, and then let it hang on.
I want it up higher. About there was where I would leave it stuck.
Yeah, that's fine. Now step over wider, a little bit wider.
Right in it, about there.
Yeah, like that. Now you're going into a squat and leaving that hand next to your hip. And reaching out with the left hand.
Okay.
It's going to feel uncomfortable. Okay. There's one more thing we have to do. I want you to Adjust your grip. So that when you look down at this, your hand is right there. We're going to try that, and that's going to feel crazy to you.
But it should help.
No? Boy. You still want to get that chin lean. Go back to it again. Go back. Yeah, okay. Here's what we want to do. We want to flex the leg. So, as you're placing your foot, I want you to flex that right leg as you come down, so that you're squatting. You're squatting rather than going forward like this. You're keeping that leg stiff and then going forward like this and getting your chin way ahead. So now the routine is hand next to the head, step out, and then squat a little bit. Not a huge amount. See how much my knees bent? Now I'm going to reach out with this hand, and I'm going to leave this one dangling next to my hip. And when I come down, my chin should be back behind the stick. Try that. Once we get this, then you just need to repeat it 30 or 40 times, and you'll have a proper stance. Okay. See how short your bridge distance is? If your whole body moves back like this, move everything back. You want to have a bridge distance more like that. You're right up here like this. So you're getting in so close and your chin is getting up.
Oh.
That's better.
Can you take a picture so we know?
That's better. Now you got it.
Let's take a picture
That's
so we know
correct.
where we're at.
See the difference? At least
Yes.
your chin is near the joint. Where before, look how far ahead of the joint
Yes.
is. And that's partly because of that stiff right leg. You don't have to have a stiff, especially as young as you are.
Okay.
You can be athletic enough to, and I do it. And really, I'll tell you who got me doing this is I used to use a stiff right leg. Although I had plenty of clearance, it was Hatchet Man
Okay.
that got me to flex that right leg. And I found when I flex the right leg, I can stay on the line better as I come down. So that was a Dennis Hatch addition to my personal. And I don't do it with everybody. You know, some people do fine, they have plenty of clearance, even though they have a stiff right leg. But your stiff right leg is forcing your whole body forward like this. And what we want is to flex. And there's a squatting feeling to it.
Very much so.
Yep. You're squatting into the shot rather than leaning into it.
That makes more sense.
Okay, you hit to the left again. We can work on that later, but we got to get this position correct. I want to change this. Let's try it there. We'll keep adjusting that. I don't want to give you a lot more for today. Now you're back to stepping too far forward. Boxer stance. There you go. Now squat into it. Squat into it. Stand back up. Squat into it. There you go. Much better. Much better. Okay. You're still off a little bit, the same way, but
It felt a little less off.
I wouldn't worry about it right now.
Okay.
We'll really focus on that the next time. And really, you have an issue with your eyes that you may have to do. We don't like to do this, but you may have to do a conscious adjustment to what you're seeing. If you're consistently hitting off, you might just have to do something like every time you shoot, move your stick an inch. Or something like that, yeah.
Okay.
You might, it's better to get the alignment and then wrap your body around that alignment, but if you can't get the alignment and it's consistently off, then we can do a consistent thing to make up for that.
Okay.
The problem is that that'll be affected by different velocities of your stroke and things like that. There, I like the way you're dropping down into the shot now. Much better. Just a little bit off that time. Let's go back to this shot. Do this 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
And then end it for the day. We shoot that straight into the pocket. Now, you have to find the line yourself now. You don't have a donut. So you got to make sure that right foot is on the line. And I'm going to check it. Once you get your right foot placed, you tell me.
Okay.
That's not bad. Okay, but you're going to have to come forward, of course. Okay, you got your angle way over here right now. So I don't want you to adjust like that. I want you to stand back up. We're going to get this foot placement right. So you're going to see this line, and then you're going to step into that line. And what you just did is you were way out here.
Yes.
And so when you came down, your stick was pointed way over there. So you need to find this line, and you can picture it like a fluorescent line like that one. Running from the object ball center, cue ball center of my foot.
Okay.
Can I get on that line? And then come down on the shot. And squat down into the shot. Perfect. Let's end it on that note.
Okay.
I would, when you get a half hour or so, just set that shot up over and over again and keep on
practicing it.
Number one thing to concentrate on, placing that foot on that line. You have to be able to see that line. You have to be able to extend that line out from the line of the cue ball and the object ball. Extend that line out and get that foot on that line. If you're just slightly inside the line, that'll give you more clearance here.
Okay.
Like this. But this is my clearance, and this is more like your clearance. You want as much clearance as possible.
Okay. I've got some good things to practice on then.
Look at Mark Wilson on, let's see, you go to YouTube and there's a series called A Pool Lesson with Jerry Braceth. You had a pool lesson with Jerry Braceth the other day.
I did.
Braceth, I said his name wrong. But you'll see that Mark is way out here like this. That arm is hanging. He has plenty of clearance. When people are doing this, they don't have room for their hands, so they have to come out like that. And as soon as they do, that tip goes in an arc.
Okay.
Okay, good lesson.
Yes, thank you.